Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, Chapter 5. All right, this is kind of a pivotal moment of the book, and I'll start towards the end of the book or end of the chapter because it really kind of sets the tone for what's about to come. And so I'm going to just scroll down. The last last two or three paragraphs, he begins talking about his departure from Colonel Lloyd's plantation. So it's this, second to last paragraph here. So if you, as you read this, you should have seen that it really shifts in tone. It was the most interesting events of his life, right? And in the next few sentences, he shares that it was this moment when he moved from Colonel Lloyd's plantation to Baltimore to his new master's house, the Alds. They're called the Alds, that was the beginning point of him escaping slavery. That's what he says in the sentence here. It says, "It is possible and even quite probable that but for the mere circumstance of being removed from that plantation, Colonel Lloyd's, to Baltimore, I should have today, instead of being here seated by my own table in this enjoyment of freedom and happiness of home, writing this narrative, been confined in the galling chains of slavery." So he's basically saying if he had not left the plantation, he probably would still be a slave to this day. And the last paragraph kind of goes further into saying that that was the moment of providence, divine providence, meaning God gave him the opportunity to escape slavery. All right, so there's an important theme there. It's the beginning of hope, of escaping slavery, and also this last paragraph talks about the his belief in God, his faith, and how he was able to escape slavery through the grace and spirit of God. Okay, and so let's kind of go back to the beginning because that I want to see how it's set up. So he first talks about his time at Colonel Lloyd's plantation, how he was treated, and how he was um, really close to Colonel Lloyd's grandson, Daniel Lloyd, who was the son of Lucretia Auld, who was Colonel Lloyd's daughter. And he was really close with Daniel Lloyd, and that was an important relationship that he developed. And the second paragraph really shows what an inhumane type of life he lived. I mean, if you read this, the tone I see is he's like an animal. This paragraph, the second paragraph, along with the third paragraph, it just seems like they're animals, you know? He's walking around with no clothes, he has got no shoes, and the way he's described how he eats, I mean, look, he eats something called mush, and it's poured into a tray or a trough like an animal, right? So I know some of you guys raise animals and you guys feed your animals. That's how you feed them, right? In this trough, and they just go down. And he says that the children were called like pigs. They would just come down there and they would just devour it. Some had oyster shells, others had pieces of shingle. And so it's just mixed in with inedible foods, and they had to go down with their hands, no spoons, and you had to eat as much as you could in order to um, eat, get your portion, get your fill. That's 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 like an animal, right? And he just sets up how then he will transition to his new life in Baltimore with the Alds, Hugh Ald and his new mistress, Sophia Ald. So remember those names. Put those names down in your reading or active reading guide and the places, and make sure that you kind of write a few sentences on those and find some good quotes to put on your reading active reading guide, and really you'll see a shift in how he's able to get away from slavery in the next few chapters.